be selling. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the stream. Let me switch over here and switch to full screen. Oh, hold on a second. Mm, mm, mm. There we go. Good, good, good. Transition. All right, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Welcome again to another wonderful Saturday morning reading stream, or Friday morning. Well, normally it's Friday. Today it is Saturday. We are reading a little bit more of the Law of One. So, let me just... Oh, my output capture's a little loud, so turn that down. And then you should be able to hear me. Okay. So, let's patch back to studio mode. So, yes, sorry, apologize for not being present yesterday. I just wasn't really feeling yesterday, but I gave myself an out because I had Saturday streaming available on my schedule. So I'm feeling good today. Did a little bit of meditation, and I was like, hey, we haven't read the Law of One in a minute, so let's read a little bit more of the Law of One. And I think that's a good idea. You know, it's just important to focus on. I want to get serious for a second. It's just important to focus on, you know, your own mental health and your own physical well-being, and it's tough. Sometimes you're not always focused on what's actually good for you, and you're distracted by the world and the universe and all the things that are around you, and it's hard to keep everything in perspective, but you just got to do the best you can with what you got, and that's all that you can do. So that's what I've been doing, and yeah, like I said, just wasn't really feeling it yesterday, but I am feeling much better today, feeling much better about things today, and ready to do a little bit of reading with y'all. But of course, today I've got with me my stars, my bagel, and my iced coffee. Bagel, iced coffee. Nothing wrong with that. So, with that all being said, let's get right into it, huh? And let me know if you can hear the music in the background. If not, I can turn it up. Well, turn it up a little bit. Hold on. Is it this one? Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Right about there. I'm thinking right about there. My mic is all the way up. Music monitor is down. There we go. Okay. I think we're good. So, we're going to switch over to our reading. Should be all set up. I've got the chats here. Obviously, if your guys' chats got them here, show up. Should show up. If they don't, we'll figure that out when we come to it. But all right. So, last we left off, we just finished book 1, which is basically the introduction to the idea of the Law of One, the law that everything is everything and related, and microcosmic and macrocosmic all at the same time. And if I remember correctly, this chapter that we're getting into is going to be more these first 3 chapters are going to be more about physics. So physics and the idea of physics and how they relate to the universe, and how they actually behave. So might get a little dense, I'm thinking. So if that is the case, I've got another window we can go and look into some specifics. Actually, let me do it now, because I have my specific. Where is it? There. Yep. We're just gonna do that. Search bar. And then, oops, no, didn't do it. Okay, let's try maybe this one. Yeah. Okay. How do you? I've been trying to figure this out, but how do you do the minimization of it? Yes. Trying to say. Like I'm trying to figure out how to do it without bringing it up on screen. Like I want to be able to see it so I can manipulate it, but I can't. I want to downsize it without showing you guys I'm downsizing it. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I have not figured it out yet. That's okay though. Okay, that works. So we'll just go to dictionary to start off. No, I don't want Copilot. Dictionary. We're not using AI. If we can help it. Okay, there we go. Specific word, at the ready. At the ready. So, let's get into it here. Session 27. February 21st, 1981. So we read off as always. Hold on a second. Center. That's better. There we go. All right. I am Ra. I greet you in the love and light of the one infinite creator. I communicate now. This session, I thought we would start Book 2 of the Law of One, which will focus on what we consider to be the only important aspects of our being. This, I assume, will be much more difficult task than the first book. We want to focus on things that are not transient, and as a questioner, I may have difficulty at times. When I do have the difficulty, I may fall back on some transient questions, simply because I will not be able to formulate what I really need, and I apologize for this. I will try my best to stay on track and eliminate things of no value from the book if they do occur during my questioning. When I do have this difficulty... Oh wait, I'm sorry. The statement I will make to begin with is, in this density, we tend to focus on our minds, on some transient conditioned activity with little regard to its value or use as an aid or tool for growth and understanding of the true and undistorted essence of creation of which we are an integral part. I'm going to highlight that. I will attempt by starting at the beginning of creation to establish an overview of ourselves in the creation, thereby arriving at a more informed viewpoint of what we consider to be reality. It is hoped that this will allow us to participate more effectively in the process of evolution. I would like to start with the definitions of words that we have been using that possibly we have not and possibly cannot understand totally. But since the first words that we use are intelligent infinity, I would like for you to define each of these words and give the definition of their combination. I am Ra. Your vibration, the mind complex indicate a query. However, your vibrational sound complex indicate a preference. Please restate. So he's noticing the difference between query and preference. The being known as Ra. Would you define the word intelligent in the context of intelligent infinity? A decent thing to understand. Okay. Apologize. I stopped to work today, so I have to have breakfast. Oh, here goes my mic. I am Ra. We shall address the entire spectrum of this question before defining as requested. Your language, using vibrational sound complexes, can be at best an approximation of that which is closer to an understanding, if you will, of the nature of conscious thought. Perceptions are not the same as the sound vibration complexes, and the attempt to define will therefore be a frustrating one for you. Although, we are happy to aid you within the limits of your sound vibration complexes. So, for those newly initiated, the sound vibration complex, I believe, is words. I believe that's what Ra is referring to, is words. And language, vibrational sound complexes, approximation. So, seems like it would be difficult because there's perceptions are not the same as words. So that's prefacing it by saying it would be difficult to answer those questions. To define intelligent apart from infinity is difficult, for these two vibration complexes equal one concept. It is much like attempting to divide your sound vibration concept, faith, into two parts. We shall attempt to aid you, however. Is it not necessary to divide it? The definition of intelligent infinity is sufficient. Could you define that, please? I am Ra. This is exponentially simpler and less confusing. There is unity. This unity is all that there is. This unity has a potential and kinetic. The potential is intelligent infinity. Tapping this potential will yield work. Work has been called by us intelligent energy. So, if we are to take this understanding, my lovely audience, unity, potential, and kinetic. So there's the potential to do something, and there's the kinetic ability doing something at the same time. So potential is intelligent infinity. Tapping the potential will yield work. The work has been called intelligent energy. So work is tapping into the potential of unity, of what is, of the possibilities. That's called work. Inner work, dark work, light work, work, physical work, mental work, work. Sure, I get that. The nature of this work is dependent upon the particular distortion of free will, which in turn is the nature of a particular intelligent energy of kinetic focus of the potential of unity of that which is all. I would like to expand a little on the concept of work. In Newtonian physics, so here we're getting into the physics, the concept of work is the product of force and distance. I am assuming that the work of which you speak is a much broader term, including possibly work in consciousness. Am I correct? I am Ra. As we use this term in the universal in application, intelligent infinity has a rhythm or flow of a giant heart beginning with the central sun, as you would think of or conceive of this. The presence of the flow of the inevitable is a tide of beingness without polarity, without finity, the vast and silent all beating outward, focusing outward and inward until the focuses are complete. Interesting. The intelligence of our, or consciousness of focuses, have reached a state where their, shall we say, spiritual nature or mass calls them inward, until all is coalesced. This is the rhythm of reality of as you spoke. Then I think I've extracted an important point from this, in that intelligent infinity, we have a work without polarity, or a potential difference does not have to exist. Is this correct? We have work without polarity. Huh. Yeah, this is the dense stuff I was saying where we're probably going to get into. I am Ra. There is no difference between potential or kinetic in unity. The basic rhythms of intelligent infinity are totally without distortion of any kind. The rhythms are clothed in mystery, for they are being itself. From this undistorted unity, however, appears a potential in relation to intelligent energy. In the way you may observe the term to be somewhat two-sided, one use of that term, that being as the undistorted unity, being without any kinetic or potential side, the other application of this term, which we undifferentiatedly or lack other terms in the sense of the vast potential tapped into by foci or focuses of energy, we call intelligent energy. I knew I was going to have trouble with this. All right. I understand that the first distortion of intelligent infinity is the distortion of what we call free will. Can you give me a definition of this distortion? I am Ra. In this distortion of the law of one, it is recognized that the creator will know itself. Then, am I correct in assuming that the creator then grants for this knowing the concept of total freedom of choice in ways of knowing? Am I correct? I am Ra. This is quite correct. Then, this then being the first distortion of the law of one, which I am assuming is the law of intelligent infinity, all other distortions which are the total experience of the creation spring from this. Is this correct? All right, I have to go back because I don't know if I'm actually getting it. Let's see. Then the first distortion is the free will. Okay. Definition. In distortion of law of one is recognized that the creator will know itself. Creator will know itself. Distortion. Huh. Then am I correct in assuming that the creator then grants this knowing the concept of total freedom of choice in the ways of knowing? Am I correct? So grants this knowing the total concept of freedom of choice. Concept of total freedom of choice. So freedom of choice knowing. Knowing the good and the bad, the correct and the wrong. This then being the first distortion of law one, which I am assuming the law of intelligent infinity, all of the distortions which are the total experience of creation spring from this. This is both correct and incorrect. In your illusion, all experience springs from the law of free will, or the way of confusion, in another sense, which we are learning. The experiences are this distortion. So learn is to experience the law of one. I will have to think about that and ask questions on it in the next session. So I will go now to what you have given me as the second distortion of the distortion of love. Is this correct? I am Ra. This is correct. I would like for you to define love in its sense as the second distortion. So here we go. I am Ra. This must be defined against the background of intelligent infinity or unity, or the one creator with the primal distortion of free will. The term love, then, may be seen as the focus, the choice of attack, the type of energy of an extremely, shall we say, high order which causes intelligent energy to be formed from the potential of intelligent infinity in just such and such a way. This then may be seen to be an object rather than an activity by some of your peoples. And the principle of this extremely strong energy focus being worshipped as the creator instead of unity of oneness from which all loves emanate. Is there a manifestation of love that we would call a vibration? I am Ra. Again, we reach semantic difficulties. The vibration or density, or love of understanding, is not a term used in the same sense as the second distortion. Love, the distortion, love, being the great activator and primal co-creator of various creations using intelligent infinity. The vibration love being that density in which those who have learned to do an activity called loving without significant distortion then seek the ways of light or wisdom. Thus, in vibratory sense, love comes into light in the sense of the activity of unity in its free will. Love uses light and has the power to direct light in its distortions. Thus, vibratory complexes recapitulate in reverse the creation in its unity, thus showing the rhythm or flow of the great heartbeat, if you will use this analogy. I will make statements that I have extracted from the physics of Dewey Larson, which may or may not be close to what we are trying to explain. Larson says that all motion, which we can take as a vibration, and that vibration is pure vibration, and is not physical in any way or in any form or density. From the first product, the vibration, is what we call this photon or particle of light. I am trying to make an analogy between this physical solution and the concept of love and light. Is this close to the concept of love creating light? I am Ra. You are correct. Then I will expand a bit more on the concept. We have the infinite vibration of love which can occur, I am assuming, at varying frequencies. I would assume that it begins at one basic frequency. Does this have any meaning? I am Ra. Each love, as you term the prime movers, comes from one frequency, if you wish to use this term. The frequency is unity. We would perhaps liken it, rather, to a strength than a frequency. This strength being infinite, the infinite qualities being chosen by a particular nature of this primal movement. This, then, the vibration, which is, for a lack of better understanding, pure motion. It is pure love. It is nothing that is yet condensed, shall we say, to form a type of density of illusion. This love then creates by this process of vibration a photon, as we call it, which is the basic particle of light. This photon then, by added vibrations and rotation, further condenses into particles of the densities we experience. Is this correct? I am Ra. This is correct. Then, this light, which forms the densities, what we call color. This color is divided into 7 categories. Can you tell me if there is a reason or explanation for these categories of color? Huh. Okay. Interesting. So we're getting into color now. Hold on a moment. For a second. This will be the last complete question of this session, as this instrument is low on vital energy. The answer briefly, and you may question further in subsequent sessions. The nature of vibratory patterns of your universe is dependent upon the configuration placed upon the original material or light by the focus of love using its intelligent energy to create a certain pattern of illusions or densities in order to satisfy its own intelligent estimates of a method of knowing itself. Thus, the colors, as you call them, are as straight or narrow as or necessary, as is possible to express given the will of love. I'll read that again. Hold on. The nature of vibratory patterns in the universe is dependent upon the configuration placed upon the original material of light by the focus of love using its intelligent energy to create a certain pattern of illusions of densities in order to satisfy its own intelligent estimate of a method of knowing itself. Okay. Alright. Okay. Thus the colors, as you call them, are as straight or narrow or necessary as is possible to express given the will of love. Huh. So, interesting. So the colors then are a reflection of love and light in the universe. Of all, color is a reflection of the expression of love and light in the universe. I think that's what it's trying to say. Interesting. Okay. There is further information which we shall be happy to answer your questions. However, we do not wish to complete the instrument. Is there a short query before we leave? Is there anything we can do to make this more comfortable? I'm going to skip this. Being light, love and peace with the creator. All right. Session 28. It's February 22nd, 1981. I am Ra. I greet you in the love and light of the infinite creator. I communicate now. I may be backtracking a little today because I think that possibly we are the most important part of what we are trying to do. Make it apparent how everything is one, how it comes from one intelligent infinity. This is difficult, so please bear with my errors in questioning. The concept that I have right now is of this process, using both what you have told me and some of Dewey Larson's material having to do with the physics of the process, is that intelligent infinity expands outward from all locations everywhere. It expands outward uniformly like the surface of a bubble or a balloon expanding outward from every point everywhere. It expands outward at what is called unit velocity and unit velocity of light. This is Larson's idea of progression, what he calls space-time. Is this concept correct? Is this concept correct? Hold on a second. There we go. Huh. Is this concept correct? Where do they? Yes. I am wrong. The concept is incorrect, as is any concept of the one intelligent infinity. The concept is correct in the context of one particular logos or love or focus of this creator, which has chosen its, shall we say, natural laws and ways of expressing them mathematically and otherwise. The one undifferentiated intelligent infinity, unpolarized, full and whole, is the macrocosm of the mystery-clad being. We are messengers of the law of one. Unity, at this approximation of understanding, cannot be specified by any physics, but only become activated or potentiated intelligent infinity due to the catalyst of free will. This may be difficult to accept. However, the understandings we have to share begin and end in mystery. I don't know. Interesting. Yesterday we arrived at a point where you're considering the colors of light. You said nature of the vibratory patterns of your universe is dependent upon the configurations placed upon the original material or light by a focus of love using its intelligent intelligent energy to create a certain pattern of illusions or densities in order to satisfy its own intelligent estimate of a method of knowing itself. Then, after this, you said that there was more material that you would be happy to share, but we ran out of time. Could you give that information further? I am wrong. In discussing the information, we then, shall we say, snap back into the particular methods of understanding or seeing that which the one sound vibration complex Dewey offers. This being correct for the second meaning of intelligent infinity, the potential which then, through catalyst, forms the kinetic. The information is a natural progression of inspection of the kinetic shape of your environment. You may understand each color of or ray as being. Ah, okay. As he had said, a very specific and accurate portion of intelligent energy's representation of intelligent infinity, each ray having been previously inspected in other regards, this information may be of aid here. We speak now non-specifically to increase the depth of your conceptualization of the nature of what is. The universe in which you live is a recapitulation in each part of intelligent infinity. Thus, you will see the same patterns repeated in physical and metaphysical areas. The rays or portions of light being, as you surmise, those areas of what you may call the physical illusion, which rotate, vibrate, or are of nature that may be, shall we say, counted or categorized in rotation manner in space-time as described by the one known as Dewey, substances having various of the rays in a physical manifestation visible to the eye. This being apparent in the nature of your crystallized minerals, which you count as precious, the ruby being red, and so forth. Interesting. This light occurred as a consequence of vibration, which is the consequence of love. I'm going to ask if the statement is correct. I am wrong. The statement is correct. This light then can condense into material as we know it, into our density, into all our chemical elements, because of the rotations of vibration at quantized units or intervals of angular velocity. Is this correct? It is quite correct. Thank you. I am wondering, what is the catalyst or activator of rotation? What causes the rotation so that light condenses into our physical or chemical elements? I am wrong. It is necessary to consider the enabling function of the focus known as love. This energy is of an ordering nature. It orders in a cumulative way from greater to lesser, so that when its universe, as you may call it, is complete, the manner of development of each detail is inherent in the living light, and thus will develop in such and such a way, your own universe having been well studied, in an empirical fashion by those you call your scientists, and having been understood or visualized, shall we say, with greater accuracy by the understanding of visualizations with the one known as Dewey. Well, hold on a moment. Bagel. Good stuff. Second. Need a nice one. Okay. All right. Consciousness come into play. At what point individualized consciousness take over the working on basic light? I am Ra. You must remain carefully in the area of creation itself. In this process, we must further confuse you by stating that the process by which free will acts upon potential intelligent infinity to become focused intelligent energy takes place without space-time of which you are so aware, as it is your continuum existence. So, saying that love and light exists boundless of time or space. So the thing that we comprehend as space and time and all that, it exists outside of that. Which, yeah, okay, I'll buy that. The experience of existence of space-time comes into being after the individuation process of logos or love has been completed in the physical universe. As you would call it, has coalesced or begun to draw inward, while moving outward to the extent that that which you call your sun bodies have in their turn created timeless chaos coalescing into what you call planets. These vortices of intelligent energy spending a large amount of what you would call first density in a timeless state, the space-time realization being one of the learned teachings of this density of beingness. Thus, we have a difficulty answering your questions with regard to time and space and this relationship to the, what you would call, original creation, which is not part of the space-time as you would understand it. Thank you. Does a unit of consciousness, an individualized unit of consciousness, create a unit of creation? I'll give an example. One individualized consciousness creates a galaxy of stars, the type that has many millions of stars in it. Does this happen? I am Ra. This can happen. The possibilities are infinite. Thus, a logos may create what you call a star system, or it may be the logos creating billions of star systems. This is the cause of confusion in the term galaxy. For there are many different logos entities of creations, and we would call each, using your sound vibration complexes, a galaxy. Anybody getting this? Anybody getting this? You guys understanding? I'm partially following. wish. You know, if you guys have anything, obviously, we can work it out. If you have any questions, but I think I'm getting it, kind of. Anyway, this is a little dense, like I said. Let's take an example, the planet that we are on now, and tell me how much of the creation was created by the same logos that created this planet. I am Ra. The planetary logos is a strong logos, creating approximately 250 billion of your star systems for its creation. The shall we say laws or physical ways of this creation will remain therefore constant. Then what you are saying is that the lenticular star system, which we call a galaxy, that we find ourselves in, with approximately 250 billion other suns like our own, was created by a single logos. Is this correct? I am Ra. This is correct. Since there are many individualized portions of consciousness in the lenticular galaxy. All right, what are you talking about? Lenticular. Lenticular. What does that mean? Lenticular. Tell me what lenticular is. Lenticular. Type of galaxy intermediate between elliptical spiral. Classification scheme. In a lens? Alright. Did this logo divide into more than an individualization of consciousness to create these consciousnesses? I am Ra. You are perceptive. This is also correct, although an apparent paradox. Because there are many individualized portions of consciousness. Could you tell me what you mean by an apparent paradox? I am Ra. It would seem that if one logos creates the intelligent energy, ways for the large system, there would not be the necessity or possibility of the further sub-logos differentiation. However, within limits, there is precisely the case. This is precisely the case, and it is perceptive that this has been seen. Thank you. Why am I? Thank you. I'll call the lenticular galaxy that we are in the major galaxy, just so we do not get mixed up in terms. Because all the consciousness in individualized form that goes into what we are calling the major galaxy start out and go through all of the densities in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 into the 8. Or are there some who start up higher in the rank so that there's always a mixture of intelligent consciousness in the galaxy? I am Ra. The latter is more nearly correct. In each beginning, there is the beginning from infinite strength. Free will acts as a catalyst. Beings begin to form the universes. Consciousness then begins to have the potential to experience. The potentials of experience are created as a part of intelligent energy, and are fixed before experience begins. However, there is always, due to free will acting infinitely upon the creation, a great variation in initial responses to intelligent energy's potential. Thus, almost immediately, the foundations of the, shall we call it, hierarchical nature of beings begin to manifest as some portions of consciousness or awareness, learned through experience in a much more efficient manner. Is there any reason for some portions being much more efficient in learning? I am wrong. Is there any reason for some to learn more quickly than others? Look, if you wish, to the function of the will, the, shall we say, attraction to the upward spiraling line of light. I'm assuming that there is 8 densities created when this major galaxy was created. Is this correct? I am wrong. This is basically correct. However, it is well to perceive that the 8th density functions also as the beginning density or first density in the latter stages of the next octave of densities. Are you saying then that there are an infinite number of octaves of densities, 1 through 8? I am wrong. we wish to establish that we are truly humble messengers of the law of one. We can speak to you of our experiences and our understandings, and teach, learn in limited ways. However, we cannot speak in firm knowledge of all creations. We know only that they are infinite. We assume an infinite number of octaves. However, it has been impressed upon us by our own teachers that there is a mystery-clad unity of creation, in which all consciousness periodically coalesces and begins. Thus, we can only assume where did I go? I am wrong. We established the truly most humble messengers. Are you saying there are infinite number of octaves of densities, 1 through 8? We wish to establish that we are truly humble messengers of the law of one. We can speak to you of our experiences and our understandings and teach, learn in limited ways. However, we cannot speak in firm knowledge of all the creations. So even they have limits. Ra has limits. We know only that they are infinite. We assume an infinite number of octaves. However, it has been impressed upon us by our own teachers that there is a mystery-clad unity of creation in which all consciousness periodically coalesces and again begins. Thus, we can only say we assume an infinite progression, though we understand it to be cyclical in nature and, as we have said, clad in mystery. Thank you. When this major galaxy is formed by the Logos polarity, then exists in a sense that we have electrical polarity. We do have electrical polarity existing at that time. Is this correct? I am wrong. I accept this as correct with the stipulation that what you term electrical be understood as not only the one, Larson stipulated its meaning, but also in what you call the metaphysical sense. Are you saying then that we have not only a polarity of electrical charge, but also polarity of consciousness at the time? I'm wrong. This is correct. All is potentially available from the beginning of your physical space-time. It then being the function of consciousness, complexes begin to use the physical materials to gain experience, to then polarize in metaphysical sense. The potentials for this are not created by the experiencer, but by intelligent being, or intelligent energy, excuse me. This will be the last full question of this session due to our desire to foster this instrument as it slowly regains physical complex energy. May we ask if you have 1 or 2 questions we may answer shortly before we close. I'm assuming that the process of creation, after the original creation of a major galaxy, is continued by the further individualization of the consciousness of the Logos, so that there are many, many portions of the individualized consciousness, creating further items for experience all over the galaxy. Is this correct? I am wrong. This is correct, for within the, shall we say, guidelines or ways of the Logos, the sub-Logos may find various means of differentiating experiences without removing or adding these ways. Thank you. And since we are out of time, I will ask if there's anything to help the instrument more comfortable. This is well adjusted, and you are conscientious. Love and light, the one for Creator, go forth, rejoicing in the power of Creator Adonai. Question 29. I am Ra. I greet you in the love and light of the infinite Creator. I communicate now. Is our sun a sub-logos or the physical manifestation of a sub-logos? I am Ra. This is correct. Didn't quite answer, I don't think. Well, no, I guess it's the same thing. Okay. And I am assuming that the sub-logos created this planetary system in all of its densities. Hold on. This I find interesting. No. No. Psychology. let's look at this Reddit post. Oh, hold on a second. I see it's cut off over here. Hold on a second. There. Okay. I need help defining what the term logos is. Yeah. I'll be using, yes, the sun, right. This is why I wanted to know, because I was like, this is important. A cosmic logos is our sun, some kind of server of the game. With its free will, it chooses the game mode and makes certain rules that are slightly different from other sub-logi, like other stars. Everything orbiting our sun is a fractal of the logos, and in essence, is the logos experiencing itself based off of the rules it made up. Although the server of the game outside of the time, the game it designs is bound by time, but since free will is the first distortion, even though the logos is outside of time, it can't know the outcome of the experiences accumulated off the bat. The logos has to let them play out. But to a third density being like myself, I can't fathom what being outside of time is like, so I'm stuck in the paradox wondering how and why logos goes about learning new things if it's outside of time and experiencing in the eternal present. As above, so below, our sun is a sub-logos, another sub-logos of another sub-logos infinitely. All the sub-logi are fractals of the infinite creator experiencing himself. How did I do? Am I messed up? Unity. We are logos, a concentration of consciousness, if you will. Sub-logos, I am wrong. One example is your mind-body-spirit complex. Then every entity that exists would be some type of sub-logos. Is this correct? Correct down to the limits of any observation, the entire creation is alive. Closer galaxies or logi are similar to our own in terms of archetypes. The next step up from a galaxy in terms of logos would be the infinite creator itself. This would transcend the entire octave. The sun is a sub-logos of the galaxy, one step below. It is made up of 6 density beings which actively create it moment to moment. Metaphysically, the sun achieves a meaning to the 4th through 7th density according to the growing abilities of entities in this densities to grasp the living creation and co-entity of other self-nature of the sun body. Thus, by the 6th density, the sun may be visited and inhabited by those dwelling in time-space and may even be partially created from moment to moment by the processes of 6th density entities in their evolution. Okay, so they're going into this, but I'm still not getting it, I don't think. So the logos is an idea. Is our sun the sub-logos of our physical manifestation of sub-logos? The sub-logos created this planetary system in all densities. The sub-logos of your solar entity differentiated some experiential components to the patterns of intelligent energy set in motion by the logos which created the basic conditions of vibratory rates. So it is a sub-logos, which is we are a logos, a concentration of consciousness. Okay. So another sub-concentration of consciousness. This is incorrect. The sub-logos of your solar entity differentiated some experiential components within the patterns of intelligent energy set in motion by the logos which created the basic conditions and vibratory rates inconsistent throughout your what you have called major galaxy. This is the sub-logos, which is our sun, and the same sub-logos just manifesting in different parts throughout the galaxy. Or is it all the stars in the galaxy? I am wrong. Please restate. What I am saying is that there are roughly 250 billion stars somewhat like ours in this major galaxy. Are they all part of the same sub-logos? I am wrong. They are all part of the same logos. Your solar system, as you would call it, is a manifestation, somewhat and slightly different, due to the presence of sub-logos. Let me be sure I'm correct then. Our sun is a sub-logos of the logos of the major galaxy. This is correct. Okay. So the consciousness of the major galaxy, the center of our galaxy, which, if we're going to go that way, the Milky Way. This is the Milky Way. So this here, nowhere near the middle, 25,000 light years. The super massive black hole at the center. So that's what that is? That's a black hole, but it's light. So how is that? And also 25,000 light years from the outer edge. Wait. Hold on a second. Hold on. You're saying that we are 25,000 light years. So we're like in the middle? We're like directly in the middle? Like directly. Like that's what this is saying. We're directly in the middle of the Milky Way. We're not on the outskirts and we're not in the center of it, but we're in the middle of the Milky Way. What are the chances? What are the chances of that? Like we're in the middle of the habitable zone in our sun. We're in the middle of between the innermost parts of the universe, of the galaxy, and we're on the middle between the outermost parts. So we're somewhat protected from whatever else is out there on the outskirts. And we're not close enough to like be swallowed up by a black hole or to see it. We'd be in the groove halfway between the center and the edge. How is that not like another wake-up call to be like, hey guys, you're the middle? The middle of everything? We put you in the middle of between being burnt alive by the sun and also being frozen to death by Pluto. We put you in the middle of the galaxy. Between the middle of the galaxy and the outside of the galaxy. Maybe you guys should think about the middle. Maybe you should think about balance and consciousness and creating and not just being hot-tempered all the time and being withdrawn all the time. Or it's a mixture. It's a balance of things. It's not just one or the other, hot or cold. It's a balance. That right there, this right here is telling me, telling me that that's what we need to be focusing on, Need to be looking at that. It's interesting. Voyager 1, right. 5.9 trillion kilometers. 1,000 light years thick. Huh. Okay, let me see if I can just picture of our galaxy and where we are located. Just for fun. Maybe I could just open up in a new tab. No. Open. Very small. That's fine. This might work. Okay, so there we are. So look at that. Yeah, we're like right in the middle. Once again, right in the middle. And all these are other solar systems. This is the supermassive black hole right here. Spiraling in, spiraling out. Part of one. Amazing. Amazing. Brilliant stuff. The universe just decided, hey, you know what? This place where life exists and all that you're in the middle. Also, the sun, and you could freeze to death if you were just a little bit further out, or you could be burning alive if you were just a little bit closer. And, you know, that's just how it is. And we just chalk it up like, oh, it's just coincidence. What? What? How do you do that? How would you do that? How could you be so naive? You don't do something like that and make it that way and make so many of the same things happen and just be like, ah, that's just by chance. We're just here by chance. We're just here to just be born, procreate, and die. That's it. That's all we're here to do. There's no lessons. There's nothing else needs to be learned. It's just all random. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You don't look at this and you just like, eh. That's why there's such just no one knows about this kind of stuff. No one understands or cares to understand it. And it makes me upset. When you look at so many things, are the conditions for life being possible and the conditions of where we're placed in the universe, and how if we were over here, we'd, be very close to this supermassive black hole, or be on the outskirts of nothing. Oh, man. That's just amazing. Okay. Enough of my rant. We're going back. Going back now. Okay. So. Our sun is a sublogos of the major galaxy, correct. Are there any sub-sublogi which are found in the planetary system that are sub to our sun? This is correct. To give an example of what I call sub-sublogos, one example is your mind-body-spirit complex. So your soul, then every entity that exists would be some type of sub or sub-logos. Is that correct? I am correct, or this is correct, down to the limits of any observation, for the entire creation is alive. Then the planet which we walk upon here would be some form of sublogos. Is that correct? I am wrong. A planetary entity is named only as logos if it is working in harmonic fashion with entities of mind-body complexes upon its surface or within its electromagnetic field. Do the sublogi, such as our sun, have a metaphysical polarity, positive or negative, as we have been using the term? I am wrong. As you use the term, this is not so. Entities through the level of planetary have the strength of intelligent infinity through use of free will, going through these actions of beingness. Their polarity is not thusly, as you understand polarity. It is only when the planetary sphere begins harmonically interacting with the mind-body complexes, and more especially mind-body-spirit complexes. The planetary sphere takes on distortions due to the thought complexes of entities interacting with the planetary entity. The creation of the one infinite creator does not have the polarity you speak of. Thank you. Yesterday, you stated that the planets in the first entity are in timeless state to begin with. Can you tell me how the effect that we appreciate as time comes into being? I am wrong. We have just described to you the state of beingness of each logos. The process by which space-time into the continuum form is a function of the careful building, shall we say, of an entire or whole plan of vibratory rates, densities, and potentials. When this plan has coalesced in the thought complexes of love, then the physical manifestations begin to appear. The first manifestation stage being awareness or consciousness. State of beingness, planets of density, timeless state. Appreciate as time comes into being. We describe the beingness of each logos. The process of space-time into continuum form is a function of the careful building, entire a whole plan of vibratory rates, densities, and potentials. When this plan is coalesced in the thought complexes of love, then the physical manifestations begin to appear. This first manifestation stage being awareness or consciousness. At that point at which the coalescence is at the livingness or beingness point, the point of fountainhead of beginning, space-time then begins to unroll its scroll of livingness. I believe that love creates the vibration in space-time in order to form the photon. Is this correct? This is essentially correct. In the continued application of love, I will assume that this is directed by the sublogos or sub-sublogos, creates rotations of these vibrations, which are in discrete units of angular velocity. This then creates chemical elements in our physical illusion, and I will assume elements in the non-physical or other densities in the illusion. Is this correct? I am wrong. The logos creates all densities. Your question was unclear. However, we shall state the logos does create both the space-time densities and occupying time-space densities. What I am assuming is that quarantine incremental rotations of the vibrations show up as material of these densities. Is this correct? I am wrong. This is essentially correct. Then because of these rotations, there is an inward motion of these particles, which is opposite the direction of space-time progression as I understand it. And this inward progression then is seen by us as what we call gravity. Is this correct? This is incorrect. Tell me how gravity comes about. Okay, so we're getting into a little bit of physics here. How does gravity work? So let's see. I am wrong. This that you speak of as gravity may be seen as the pressing towards the inner love light, the seeking toward the spiral line of light which progresses towards the Creator. This is a manifestation of a spiritual event or condition of livingness. Questioner. The gravity that we know on our moon is less than it is on our planet. Is there a metaphysical principle behind this that you could explain? I am wrong. The metaphysical and physical are inseparable. I'm going to read that again. The metaphysical and physical are inseparable. Physics does not exist without a metaphysical complex to it. This idea that we can just separate science from the entire idea of the universe and ourselves is bonkers. Because in essence, we are creating it by our existence. Thus, that of which you spoke, which attempts... Highlight. I enjoyed that. Inseparable. Thus, that of which you spoke, which attempts to explain this phenomenon, is able to, shall we say, calculate the gravitational force of most objects due to the various physical aspects, such as what you know as of mass. However, we felt it was necessary to indicate the corresponding and equally important metaphysical nature of gravity. I sometimes have difficulty in getting a foothold into what I am looking for. I am trying to seek out the metaphysical principles, you might say, behind our physical illusion. Okay, this is good. Could you give me an example of the amount of gravity in the third density conditions at the surface of the planet Venus? Would it be greater or less than Earth's? I am wrong. The gravity, shall we say, the attractive force, which we also describe as the pressing outward force towards the Creator, is greater spiritually upon the entity you call Venus due to the greater degree of success, shall we say, at seeking the Creator. Interesting. So, heavier gravity has to do with going towards the Creator, if this is to be understood as correct. Interesting. Okay. This point only becomes important when you consider that when all of that creation in its infinity has reached a spiritual gravitational mass of sufficient nature, the entire creation infinitely coalesces. Right, that makes sense, because supermassive black hole, the center of the galaxy, nothing but denseness there, nothing but gravity, nothing but supposedly love, I suppose. when you think about, the movie Interstellar and going into that, I mean, it was all possibilities available. He saw time and space. He was able to affect the past with the going into the center of that. So that's an interesting idea, which rings true to me, but I don't know. It's a good idea. I'm a fan of it. So more gravity, the more that you're trying to seek the creator. The lighter that you are, the more unbound you are by love and light and responsibility? Huh. Maybe. I mean, if that's the opposite. The light seeking and finding its source, and thusly ending the creation and beginning of a new creation, much as you consider the black hole. See? I didn't even get to there yet. So let me read this again. This point only becomes important when you consider that when the creation of infinity has reached a spiritual gravitational mass of sufficient nature, the entire creation infinitely coalesces, the light seeking and finding its source, and thusly ending the creation and beginning a new creation, much as you consider the black hole, as you call it, with its conditions of infinitely great mass at the 0 point from which no light may be seen as it has been absorbed. Then the black hole, here we go, this is another highlighting moment, I can tell. When the black hole would be at a point which the environmental material has succeeded in uniting with unity or with the creator. Is this correct? I am wrong. The black hole which manifests third density is the physical complex manifestation of this spiritual metaphysical state. This is correct. So again, where did I go? Where did it go? There. So here we are, right? Here we are. We're right here. If this is to be understood as correct, then this center from which we all originate, from which this galaxy was created in terms, is love and light, how it is expressed in this document by this metaphysical being that we call Ra. So love and light is literally emanating. It is the oneness, it is the source of this entire galaxy that we are a part of. Amazing. Brilliant. Brilliant. And going into that, it's so dense and so gravitationally pulling that love and light is understood as the unity of becoming. So interesting. It's so interesting. I love it. The black hole which manifests third density is the physical complex manifestations of the physical, spiritual, or metaphysical state. This is correct. Then when our planet is fully into fourth density, will there be a greater gravity? I am wrong. There will be a greater spiritual gravity, thus causing a denser illusion. This denser illusion, then, I would assume, increases gravitational acceleration above the 32 feet per second squared that we experience. Is this correct? I am wrong. Your entities do not have the instrumentation to measure spiritual gravity, but only to observe a few of its extreme manifestations. This I know, that we can't measure spiritual gravity. But I was just wondering if the physical effect could be measured as an increase in the gravitational constant. That was my question. I am wrong. The increase measurable by existing instrumentation would and will be statistical in nature, only and not significant. Okay. As the creation is formed, as the atoms form at rotations of the vibration which is light, they coalesce in a certain manner sometimes. They produce a lattice structure, which we call crystalline. I am guessing that, because of the formation from intelligent energy of the precise crystalline structure, that it is possible, by some technique, to tap intelligent energy and bring it into physical illusion by working through the crystalline structure. Is this correct? The creation is formed, the atoms form as rotations of the vibration which is light. They coalesce in a certain manner sometimes. They produce a lattice structure. I'm guessing that because the formation from intelligent energy is precise crystalline structure. This is correct only insofar as crystalline physical structure is charged by a correspondingly crystallized or regularized, balanced, balanced, balanced. Regularized, crystallized, mind, body, spirit, complex. Balanced. Not in one direction or the other, not leaning back and forth. Balanced. I don't wish to get off subjects of no importance, but it is difficult to sometimes see precisely in what direction to go. I would like to investigate a little bit more of this idea of crystals, how they are used. I am assuming then that from what you said, that in order to use the crystal to tap into intelligent energy, it is necessary to have a partial undistorted mind-body-spirit complex. Is this correct? I am wrong. This is specifically correct. There must be a point at which the removal of distortion reaches the minimum for use of the crystal of tapping intelligent energy. Is this correct? I am wrong. This is correct only if it is understood. Shall we say that each mind-body-spirit complex has a unique such point? Can you tell me why each mind-body-spirit complex has this unique point of distortion ridding? Each mind-body-spirit complex is a unique portion of the one creator. Then you are saying that there is no single level of purity required to tap intelligent energy through crystals, but there can be a wide variation in the amount of distortion that an entity may have. But each entity has to reach this particular point of what I might call energizing ability. Is this correct? This is incorrect. The necessity is for the mind-body-spirit complex to be of a certain balance. This balance thus enabling it to reach a set level of lack of distortion. The critical differences are unique for each mind-body-spirit complex due to the experiential distillations, which in total are the, shall we say, violet ray beingness of each such entity. This balance is what is necessary for work to be done in seeking the gateway to intelligent infinity through the use of crystals or through any other use. No two mind-body-spirit crystallized natures are the same. The distortion requirement, vibrationally speaking, are set. I see. Then if you are able to read the violet ray of an entity, to see that ray, is it possible to immediately determine whether the entity could use crystals to tap intelligent energy? I am wrong. It is possible for 1/5 density or above to do this. You are able to read the violet ray from an entity. To see that ray, it is possible to immediately determine whether the entity could use crystals or tap intelligent energy. Okay. Is it possible for you to tell me how an entity who has satisfactorily achieved the necessary violet ray qualification should use the crystal? I am wrong. The gateway to intelligent infinity is born of, shall we say, the sympathetic vibration in balanced state, accompanying the will to serve, the will to seek. The gateway to intelligent infinity is born. So, if you wish to understand the universe, if you wish to understand the universe, the gateway to it is by being balanced in a state willing to serve and seek. Serve the infinite one creator and seek the truth, the balance as well, I would suppose. Can you tell me precisely what the entity would do with the crystal to use it for the purpose of seeking intelligent infinity? The use of the crystal in physical manifestation is the use wherein the entity of crystalline structure, crystalline nature, charges the regularized physical crystal with this seeking, thus enabling it to vibrate harmonically and also become the catalyst or gateway whereby intelligent infinity may thus become intelligent energy. This crystal serving as an analog of the violet ray of mind, body, spirit in relatively undistorted form. Is it possible for you to instruct us in the specific uses of crystals? I am wrong. It is possible. There are, we consider, things which are not efficacious to tell you due to possible infringement upon your free will. Entities of the Confederation have done this in the past. The uses of the crystal, as you know, include the uses for healing, for power, and even for the development of life forms. We feel that it is unwise to offer instruction at this time, as your peoples have shown a tendency to use peaceful sources of power for disharmonious reasons. True. Is it possible for you to give me an example of various planetary developments in what I would call a metaphysical sense, having to do with the development of consciousness and its polarities throughout the galaxy? In other words, I believe that some of these planets develop quite rapidly into higher density planets and some take longer times. Can you give me some idea of that development? This will be the final full query of the session. The particular logos of your major galaxy, all right, here we go, has used a large portion of its coalesced material to reflect the beingness of the Creator. In this way, there is much of your galactic system which does not have the progression of which you speak, but dwells spiritually as a portion of the logos. Of those entities upon which consciousness dwells, there is, as you surmise, a variety of time-space periods during which the higher densities of experience are attained by consciousness. The particular logos of your major galaxy has used a large portion of its coalesced material to reflect the beingness of the Creator. It does not have a progression in which you speak, but dwells spiritually as a... Okay. Of these entities upon the consciousness dwells... Very... Okay. Is there any short query before we close? I didn't quite understand that. I knew that was the last question. Give some idea of the development in the way of these entities. Okay. So, the more quickly you obtain consciousness is the more that your planet develops into a different density? I'm just guessing. That just makes sense. Is there anything we can do to make your instrument more comfortable? You are conscientious. The entity is well aligned. I leave you in the light and power of infinite creation. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We have made it. It's 11:36. It's perfect. It's right where I wanted to be. So I'm going to switch to full screen. Full screen. Full screen. There we go. So thank you for tuning in. Wow, that was a lot to digest. I kind of got a little bit of it, but I'm not sure I got all of it. It was certainly interesting to learn about, read about. But I think the main takeaway is that physics is related to the metaphysical. So the whole idea of... Hold on, let me go back. The whole idea of... why is this so... Here, put these up here. Right there. There we go. The whole idea of this is fascinating. Just fascinating to me. And I think it's fascinating because it is all about the just, I mean, it's all related. It's all related. I mean, the black hole, the spiraling, the above and below, microcosms, macrocosms, inside, outside, being, non-being. It's just, I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, you can't put it into words, really. I just don't think you can describe how amazing it is. You can't do it in human language. How wonderful and perfect it's all laid out. And I'm just happy to be here for it in these, what are potentially final years of human existence as we understand it from the past 12,000 years. There was a civilization that was here before, and we're getting closer to the end of that 12,000 year cycle. So I don't know. We might not be here. Might not be here in a couple of years. You know, certainly within the century, you would expect something to give. Otherwise, yeah, things would just continue and just be boring, and then the universe would be like, well, that's boring. Why would you do that? I mean, you didn't learn anything. You're Just gonna continue your civilization of survival and fear and nope. Just start over, try again, game over. Do it again, do it a second time. If you didn't get it this time, try it again. So I don't know. That's how I'm looking at it. It's quite interesting. I enjoy this metaphysical stuff. I enjoy it so much, and I appreciate you all being here for it and watching it with me. Next Tuesday will probably be Benjamin Franklin again. There might be a stream in between as well. Maybe a gaming stream tonight or tomorrow night. We might do something. Might go back to Resident Evil. We'll see, but face our fears. But I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate you watching this video and movie. I was about to say. My life is a movie, so you can watch that movie too. But I appreciate you all being here, and I really hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Stay cool out there. Don't get too hot. Don't get dehydrated. Make sure you drink water if you're outside. Be well. Be awesome. Semper Sursum. Excelsior, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.